Beat the Meat with your old mate Gino. Today we're going to continue our series on beating the meat mince, replacing that with a variety of things. Today we're going to be using this stuff here. It's the controversial TVP, textured vegetable protein. Plenty of protein in it, plenty of fiber. The trick is to mix it up with lots of variety. We're going to make nachos today using the TVP as a sauce or a topping, and we're also going to match that up with a beautiful vegan cheesy style bechamel kind of cheese sauce thingy. So let's do it. Right, we're heating up the pan. Again, the oil. That's a lot of oil, guys. That's 2/3 of a cup of oil around about. Okay, rice bran oil. Turn that heat up. Right. There we go. Rice bran oil. Carom seeds. We're going to use one of my favorite things, fennel seeds, mainly just for flavor. Generally herbs and spices are good for all kinds of things and we're going to use them, but fennel, underused, that's why we're going to use it. Carom seeds, good for digestion, main thing, help things digest, okay? We're going to need that. Right, and we see here our blood sugar, our blood sugar reducing rice bran oil is starting to shimmer, so we're probably hot enough. We're going to go 1, 2 pinches. We're going to put a teaspoon of fennel seed. And that's the ratio for about 2 cups of TVP. Right, let's line all our other spices up. We're having cinnamon. We're having cumin. And the dill tips. We need the dill tips. We've got to keep them in our life. We're going to put tomato paste. I forgot to open the thing. We'll put a bit of pepper and salt. Okay, and we want water, so we'll just fill this up. Let us begin. Right, we'll put our TVP in. We're going to put our cinnamon. Okay, one of those. We're going to put our cumin. One of those. We're going to put plenty of our dill. To help with our, well, you know, just to help with our, all the diabetes kind of stuff. Prevent that from happening. Right, stir that in. It's already smelling nice and fragrant. Stirring that in. We are going to add our water, starting there. That's about half a cup. See what that turns out to be like. Oh, it smells very fragrant. Nice dark mincy colour. It just looks exactly like mince already, guys. A little bit more water. That's probably about half a cup. Let's see what that turns out to be like. I might turn the heat down for a moment. We want a little bit more water. That's about 2/3 of a cup of water. Nice and meaty. Plenty of fat in there. And you can see You can see the oil that's coming out, it's sizzling away. That's about on par with your cheap mince that you get from the supermarket, and that's the whole point. We're moving from low vibrational food to, you know, a little bit higher vibration, but still keeping it really similar to what we were eating before, to try and slip on over to a vegan diet and make it nice and easy and delicious. So we'll put a couple of fat spoons of tomato paste. Get that stirred in. There we go. Something like that. Right, salt. Big fat pinch of salt. Good amount of pepper. Good amount of pepper. Here we go. More than you think. More salt, more pepper than you always think you'd put in. Some chef secrets there. That's pretty much the biggest chef secret. Loads of salt. Loads of pepper. You want to be able to taste both. I'm going to give that a little taste. Perfect. The fennel adds a sort of licoricey taste, which really goes well with the cinnamon. And fennel seeds are really, really good for you. And it's just a flavour that's not used so much. We want to do things that are novel to our diet, new to our diet. That's going to help us move on over. I'll turn the heat right down on that. That's done. We are going to make our bechamel. Alright, so we've got about 180 mils of the famous rice bran oil. Okay, this will be good. So we're going to go wholemeal flour. Now before I chuck this in while the oil's getting hot, we're using wholemeal flour because we want the fiber. Okay, we need to be watching out for our fiber. So we're gonna use wholemeal wherever possible without sacrificing flavor or taste at the beginning of our transition away from meat eating into veganism. So here we go. We're going to add this flour. Stir that in. Okay, that oil's actually real hot. Alright. And I think, I'm just going to turn that down. 180 mils, it was about 100 grams of flour. I think we can do a little bit more. So I'm just going to use my hands. I just usually do this by eye. Just another big punch of wholemeal flour in there. A little bit more. Okay, that's probably more like 130 grams. We're going to add coriander. That's 2 big teaspoons of coriander for a grassy flavour, which is a flavour that you'd find, or a tasting note you'd find in cheese. A teaspoon of mustard powder for that savoury goodness. A pinch of cloves for that depth of flavour. And that bechamel kind of sauce, cheese sauce kind of taste. And we're going to put about half a teaspoon of turmeric. Oh, excuse me. Half a teaspoon of turmeric for colour. We're also going to put, this will actually thicken it up. Here we go. It's a real slurry. We're also going to put a lot of onion powder. which adds that cheesiness and savouriness. 1, 2, 3, and 1 for my homies. Now this is gonna, all those dry powders are gonna thicken up this roux. And look at that, we're pretty good. Pretty good here. All those spices mixed in. Now, get that up to temp, which is all bubbling away, which is good. We're going to add our oat milk. Cool, we're just going to keep going. Give it a good stir. Make sure that's all incorporated. Make sure it all looks kind of consistent. Without any lumps. If you see lumps, you go like that. And that bangs it up against the side of the pan, which gets rid of the lumps. Speed is the key here. We want to, we don't want to be put off by spending hours in the kitchen. And because we're making nachos, I don't want it too runny. I want it to be something you can pick up with a nacho chip. And it's just soaking up all that liquid. Good old wholemeal flour. It's a dream to cook with, easy peasy. Alright, that makes 1 litre. Alright. This is becoming a nice, beautiful, thick sauce. Okay, so we're putting a good 1.5 teaspoons of salt in. We're going to taste it and we're going to add our nutritional yeast flakes, savoury yeast flakes. To match up with our oat milk for some synergy inside the gut. Okay, we're just going to freestyle it here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm starting with that and I'll taste it. We can just keep adding water if we don't like the consistency, but we're just about ready to serve up. Stir that in. Right, little taste. Okay. Needs more salt, guys. So that's getting towards about 2 teaspoons of salt. And another one of these. We can just keep adding. 1.5. We just keep adding until we get it exactly how we like it. You definitely want to be generous with the salt to get that tasty, cheesy goodness, because cheese is a salty product. That's it. Let's give it a little taste. That's a little bit more. A little bit more and we're good. So that's probably about 7 odd teaspoons of savoury yeast flakes and a good 2 spoons of salt for a nice, tasty, cheesy, beautiful sauce. Now we're going to eat some nachos. And I'll put our chips in here. Put our chips in. Alright. Put our mince. We've got our mince. We've got some tomatoes. We want to season these. Important to season tomatoes. Season them really well. Loads of black pepper. Key to delicious tomatoes. Something like that. Put some of these on. Why not? Avocado. From my mum and dad's tree. Hey? Put these on. Excuse my fingers. These are very soft and very ripe. Not sure else the best way to do it. If they are firm. Our cheesy sauce. You guys know me, I do big I do big batches of everything. Just do it by eye, and that's how I roll. A little bit more. There we go. Something like that. We can apply the principle of mentalism here, the natural law principle of mentalism, where we set our mind, excuse me, if we set our mind to freeing the animals off our plate, then we're setting our mind to creating freedom in the world, creating freedom on our plate of life, if you will. So there you go. Come and beat the meat with me next time.